turned into something bad. Everyone knows North Korea is a police state. Everyone knows Guatemala is a police state. Everyone knows Mexico's a police state. Everyone knows areas of Russia are a police state. We don't want to be like that. We want due process. I mean, it's real simple. Here is the trailer for Dreams from My Real Father, available discounted with a free citizen rulebook, I should add, and it supports us and the filmmaker at InfoWarsShop.com. Here it is. Dreams from My Real Father.
My father was a foreign student, born and raised in a small village in Kenya. He grew up herding goats.
Frank Marshall Davis, writer.
Of course, it's showing the FBI files. It turns out that Obama's so-called father, the Kenyan, was not tortured by the British. That's fake. The whole book's been proven to be fake, Dreams of My Father. We just don't know who he really is. We know who he says he is.
I have a collection of intimate portraits called horizontal cameos.
That's his mother, naked. I mean, holy mackerel. She was a porn CIA operative. Oh, my gosh. This is some dangerous stuff here.
The free market, it doesn't work. It has never worked.
40 years ago, when I was 8 years old,
mainly showing the documents for radio listeners. He is totally compromised.
The American people will embrace the change.
Did you know that Bill Clinton's mother was a prostitute?
The doors that have been open to me aren't open to them.
It's like they've got to totally have you.
Obama needs us, Acorn. But we need Obama, don't we?
Listen to that idiot.
Abraham Lincoln School. This was a progressive school.
There are kids who still believe in the American dream. They think it exists.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
There's Daddy.
In the last few decades, the average income of the top 1%.
Take it then from the carelessness of the money trunk.
It's his dad. Looks just like him, talks like him, hung out with Mama.
The reaching hands of the little people.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to come back. If you're a radio listener and you can't see this, it's unbelievable. And the stuff, I mean, that's his mother. That's his mother. I mean, if it's a Photoshop, it's the best I've ever seen. Sick of the glove. #1 New York Times best-selling author about a month ago, Dr. Jerome Corsi, told me I had to see this film, Dreams from My Real Father, directed by Joel Gilbert, who's joining us via video Skype for TV and radio listeners here in just a moment, a story of Reds and deception. And he started telling me the claims in the film. It wasn't out yet, and I was sent a screener a few weeks ago. And after I saw it, it fit into a lot of the research we've done. Again, we don't know who Obama is. That's been proven. It was just in the news yesterday in the Daily Mail, Obama's grandfather tortured by the British, a fantasy like most of the president's own memoir. And they now have had to admit, the White House came out, last year and said, well, a lot of the memoir is just a composite, what we'd like to say. It's fiction, parts of, I mean, his name was Barry Soetoro. He had this other name. He looks nothing like the Kenyan dad. The State Department had his dad thrown out, saying it wasn't his dad. He had a dead person's Social Security number. Everybody knew him as Barry. All these other fake names. Nobody's got stuff sealed. His Harvard, papers have been sealed, but then we get some of them. We get his publicist for 17 years, 16 and a half years, saying he was born in Kenya. His wife in speeches saying just 4 years ago, he was born in Kenya. We went back to his homeland, Kenya. His grandmother saying it. The records are cut out over there. But then did she go over there to have that story that he was born there, and then later they changed it? I don't know. Because the guy they say is his daddy. It'd be like if they showed James Earl Jones and said, well, his last name's Jones. He's Alex Jones's daddy. He said, looks nothing like Alex Jones. The Kenyan dad, totally different shaped skull, different nose. You know, you can tell the different African tribes by the way they look nothing like Barack Obama, who looks like he's about 80% white. Well, Dreams from My Real Father, it's unbelievable. And it's got shocking research and supposedly Obama's mother in compromised positions. And then I was thinking back, wait, Bill Clinton's mother was an admitted lady of the night, and the guy they said was his dad wasn't his dad. And then we know she frequented with Governor Rockefeller. And then I looked into that, 15 years ago, and it was all true. And then his mother dies right as he's elected. Obama's mother dies right as he's elected. Amazing. And so this is the type of people they want, totally compromised. His mother's CIA, his grandmother's CIA, the granddaddy, that's all admitted. So we don't really know who this guy is. We know his mother is who they say, from my research. Now, we have this video discounted. It just came out this week at Infowars.com. You also get a free Citizen Rule book. It supports us, supports the filmmaker. This is a very powerful film. It's available, again, at InfoWarsShop.com. You've got to see it. We're going to, for people watching on the video stream, we're going to show some side-by-side photos and things. We'll describe these for radio listeners on XM and other stations out there, terrestrial stations. But it is powerful. You got to see it. Because I was kind of like, yeah, there's some evidence. I put it in, and it's like, whoa. And caution, if there's children watching, they cover up the genitals and things, but it is somewhat pornographic as well. So just be aware of that. But this is coffin nails politically to Obama. And the point is, even if he's a puppet, he's totally blackmailed by foreign interest. We're in grave danger, ladies and gentlemen. This guy is not who he says he is. Now, the director is Joel Gilbert. I'm not going to try to even go over all of his bio, but he is a contributing editor for National Security and Foreign Policy, FamilySecurityMatters.org, and appears frequently as foreign policy analyst, national radio shows, TV, major institutes, briefing councils, briefing governments, you name it. I'm not going to get into his whole bio. But he joins us here today. And Joel, this is really scary stuff. I mean, I would imagine you're watching your back. I'm going to try to shut up and give you the floor, but this is pretty compelling. I have a lot of questions. Tell us about yourself, how you discovered this, and your basic thesis about who this guy really is. Again, thank you for joining us.
Okay, great to be here, Alex. Thank you. I got into this really accidentally. If you look over my shoulder, if you can see on the Skype, I produced a film a couple years ago called Atomic Jihad, Ahmadinejad's Coming War and Obama's Politics of Defeat. And when I researched that film, I watched over 200 speeches of Barack Obama. And I noticed something very strange. Every time he spoke about the rich and the poor, he became very excited. His voice went up a full octave, and he would scream and be so happy. And then he'd go to another subject, and he'd be calm again. And that set me off to think this guy has a passion for class struggle. It was very obvious, but it did not fit his background. I knew he went to an exclusive prep school. He went to Harvard Law. So I read his book, Dreams from My Father, and I saw many, many references to Marxism. He specifically went to Occidental College. He arrived at Occidental College at age 18, admittedly as a committed revolutionary Marxist. He went into organizing. He went into socialist conferences. I realized it was a life journey in socialism. So I said, well, what was his experience that he could show up at 18 years old as a Marxist? He must have had a very different experience than any of the other kids at the exclusive Punahou school. So I noticed a very interesting passage in Dreams from My Father where he said that he would visit Frank Marshall Davis's house, the communist propagandist, with his grandfather regularly since age 10. And he said, quote, when I visited Frank, it was as though I was witnessing some complicated, unspoken transaction between Frank and my grandfather. Now, that was pretty strange. So I decided to investigate Frank Marshall Davis. And right away, you could see that Davis has a striking resemblance to Obama. Same height, 6'2", same forehead, same eyes, the jawline, shocking resemblance, while the Kenyan Obama looked nothing like him. So I said, well, how could that be? And that started about a 2-year investigation where I dug up archives of Frank Marshall Davis from 2 universities that were buried. I went to Hawaii and investigated Davis. I found 500 copies of the Honolulu Record, which is a newspaper, communist-run newspaper that Davis wrote for. And I found that Davis was not only the biological father of Barack Obama, but also the ideological father. In Davis's writings, which I include a lot of those newspapers in the DVD, he flawlessly mirrored official Soviet propaganda. He was a member of the Communist Party. He actually came to Hawaii. He was sent to Hawaii by Communist Party USA in 1948 on the orders of the Kremlin, Comintern International, to help foment a communist takeover of the islands. At that time, the Russians felt that Hawaii was an obstacle to Russian expansion in Asia. So Davis went to Hawaii and helped lead a communist attempt at taking over the government with the ILWU, was the International Longshoremen's Association. It eventually failed. But Davis went on to write in favor of socialized medicine. He blamed America for starting World War II. He denounced the Marshall Plan. He supported socialized medicine. He wanted wealth redistribution. So I concluded at that time that the people who were asking, where's the birth certificate, were asking the wrong question. That the real question was, who's the real father? And that's the key to understanding Barack Obama's plans for the country, and that's the key to understanding his ideology. But I'm convinced, and you can look at the film and see all the evidence, that Davis is in fact the biological father. And I found convincing evidence that Obama's mother, Ann Dunham, had an intimate relationship with Davis. Found over 30 photos of Ann Dunham in various compromising states of nudity. We covered everything up with black bars to be respectful. But we show that there was an intimate relationship with Davis. I actually went to the house in Hawaii. There's a photo if you're on Skype. And we found, I took the measurements, and there's Ann and all kind of compromising things. But we took the measurements and found that that was the house. And the photos are traced to Davis, who was a amateur photographer. So on the one hand, there was absolutely, and there is absolutely no evidence that Obama's mother, Ann Dunham, ever even met the Kenyan Obama. No evidence they were married, no photos, nothing. We have a lot of evidence of an intimate relationship between Frank Marshall Davis, the communist propagandist, and Ann Dunham, Obama's mother.
So the whole Kenyan thing is elaborate to throw us off and make us think that's what's going on.
I believe it's all subterfuge to avoid a much, much darker past.
Now, I mean, let's be clear. Let's go back to Ann Dunham, though. I mean, it looks just like her. I've blown it up. These are not photoshopped. How did you get these photos? Go through all that. You've been to the house. You've looked inside. It matches the photos. This is bombshell.
Yeah, it matches the floor. It matches the photos. And the photos are obvious evidence. I want to state one more piece of strong circumstantial evidence. Davis, of course, is known for writing a book called Sex Rebel Black. He talks about 30 years of nefarious activities and sexual deviation and being interested in young girls and so on. So Ann Dunham, think about it. She takes Barry to Indonesia for a couple years. She comes back from Indonesia and tells Gramps, Obama's grandfather, something to the effect of, I'm going back to Indonesia, but you know the guy that I used to pose nude for that engaged in all these activities, I think young Barry should be raised by him. So when I go back to Indonesia, you should take Barry to this guy's house 3 times a week and spend his childhood with him. Now that makes no sense unless Davis is the actual biological father.
And let's be clear, the grandpa, Obama says, would take him over there.
Oh, absolutely. We have.
Unbelievable.
I spoke to the neighbors, former neighbors of Frank, who are living, and they said that Barry, and they've been interviewed by other people, that Barry came over at age 10 about 3 times a week. And we have Obama himself in his book, Dreams from My Father, where he chronicles and talks about Frank.
Listen, it's his dad. I can't believe this. This is so big. And I want to talk about where you got the photos of her in the Betty Page stuff with the other women. I mean, this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. We'll be right back. Dreams from my